Some housekeeping. First, we have, let's see, at the request of the patron, let's see, HB 1527, she would request that that be struck.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
So moved. Second.
All right, so the motion has been made to strike and seconded by 1527. Would all those please record their vote on the voting machine? Mr. Ferris? Thank you. We'll close the roll. The second order of business is at the request of the patron, HB 2123 also be struck. Could I have a motion? That would be the pickle bill.
So moved.
All right. That motion to strike the bill has been motioned and seconded. Will the clerk please open the roll? All those in favor of striking from the docket? Clerk will close the roll. Okay. Now, at the request, I think we can do this in block. At the request of the patron, 1451, 1884, or 1984, and House Bill 1985 will go by for the day. And I have talked to the patrons, and they understand that next Wednesday is the last day for hearing of those bills. So hopefully we have what we need to do for that. It would be Bobby's, Delegate Orrock's 1451. Okay. Now, so we need those by for the day.
So moved. Second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Now, real quick, we had a lot of bills last year that involved a certain entity, but a certain breed of dog with a beagle. And I don't know if you all have followed the news, but there have been quite a few things that have happened to these beagles. And so if I could have Daphne come up and give us just a real quick 60-second where these beagles ended up, because they seem to go pretty far, including Culpeper, the
Yes.
Culpeper Police Department.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair Weber, members of the subcommittee, and thank you for the opportunity to provide you with a brief but wonderful update on almost 4,000 beagles whose welfare this subcommittee considered last year with almost a dozen beagle bills. And Vigo had been operating in our state since 1961 with no state oversight whatsoever, and only the U.S. Department of Agriculture as a regulator. Over the course of 11 months, the USDA APHIS inspected in Vigo 5 times and found more than 70 violations, many of them critical, but never fined or penalized in Vigo. It was only after the Virginia General Assembly and Governor Youngkin agreed that enough was enough and passed legislation to ensure that chronic Animal Welfare Act violations in Virginia have consequences, and the U.S. Department of Justice executed a search warrant, seized almost 450 dogs in acute distress, and sought resolution in federal court that every single dog and puppy were saved from a terrible fate at the hands of this chronic violator. Members of this subcommittee were first to hear most of the beagle bills last year, which passed both chambers unanimously. Legislators asked us what would happen to all of the beagles confined in Vigo if the facility were to shut down. The Virginia Coalition for Beagle Protection, which is made up of dozens of organizations from across the Commonwealth, promised you that the animal protection community would come together if that day came, and 7 months later, this puppy prison was shut down. It took a village not only to get the legislation passed, but to get all 4,000 dogs to safety, and we could not have done it without this subcommittee's wisdom and support. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to each and every one of you. And my colleague, Molly Armas, will tell you just a little bit more about the actual rescue of the dogs.
Yes, so...
And for the record, Bill Stanley did not adopt them all, did he?
He didn't, in fact. Thank you, Chair Weber, members of the subcommittee. So as Daphne mentioned, DOJ coordinated the surrender of these beagles. As part of that agreement, the Humane Society of the United States coordinated the placement of these dogs through our animal rescue team, which does step in and help out local communities when animals are in need and local capacity is exceeded. And so I did want to emphasize we wouldn't have been able to do this operation without about 120 shelter partners in 29 different states, including about a dozen groups right here in Virginia who took beagles and made sure that they got into loving homes. We only had about 60 days to do it, and so we started at the end of July, and by September 1st, 3,770 dogs were out of there into loving homes. And so thank you again for your leadership. Yeah. We're really grateful. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, first, let me apologize to those folks online. We've had some difficulties, so hopefully we're up and running now. I am going to take the prerogative to go out of order of the docket, just because we have members that need to be traveling and going to transportation, and we've got all that kind of thing. So first up, we're going to take Delegate Anderson on 1406, and then we're going to unfortunately go from dogs to plants. So our theme motif will be disturbed by Delegate Bulova.
The best reason to pass 1406 is you'll be able to mock me on the floor with dog barking and cat meowing. So if that's not incentive enough to say yes, I don't know what is. Virginia law allows localities to require pet licenses. And if you have a dog or cat, companion pets, if you don't pay a small fee, Virginia Beach it's $7, in other cities it's $10. If you don't pay a small fee, it becomes a misdemeanor crime to not pay this fee. And Virginia authorities, animal control, can seize your dog and euthanize it, seize your cat and euthanize it. So this bill seeks to unwind this. It still allows the localities to issue licenses without a fee, so long as the rabies certificates are current and in place. A couple of duplicitous problems with the current law. Some people think that the localities who are issuing the licenses are monitoring rabies. It's a crime to not have your animal with a rabies vaccination on your property. You can't have it off of your property, so that crime already exists. And second, the biggest misnomer is that the money goes to animal shelters to support animal shelters, and that's not true. It's a general revenue tax. It's just a nickel and dime tax that makes Virginians criminals. I've had many clients that have been charged with crimes, and it can ultimately result in the forfeiture of your animal. So for those reasons, I ask that this bill move forward.
Okay, are there any questions for the patron? Delegate Orrock.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Delegate Anderson, how on earth would anybody know whether you're getting your animals vaccinated or not if there's not some reporting mechanism requirement at the local government level? As my recollection during the time I've been down here, that was kind of the nexus we always had, that you can say by the law they have to be vaccinated, but if nobody knows except you and your vet, how would you ever enforce the vaccination standard?
Well, generally it would be if there was a bite or there's an animal control call, but the localities can still issue licenses. So this wouldn't take it away from them. It's just going to take away the little nickel and dime tax and take the misdemeanor component away from it for not doing it. In cities like Virginia Beach, if you're disabled, the tax is even just $2. And the localities actually lose money because the processing time to do this is not even revenue positive. So I'm not a fan of people becoming a criminal for not paying a $7 tax, and I'm certainly not a fan of people losing their dogs for not paying the locality tax.
Delegate Ferris.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask Delegate Anderson if he's ever had rabies shots for treatment of an animal bite.
No, I know it's pretty painful. It's in the belly.
And Mr. Chairman?
It used to be, maybe.
Delegate Ferris.
And to that point, I think that's what Bob is trying to say. When it occurs, it's too late to find out then if they've been vaccinated or not. This is a way to make sure that the animals, or at least have some type of control on getting them vaccinated and getting them registered.
Well, Delegate Ferris, I guess there's a couple points to that. First, reasonable animal owners are going to vaccinate their animals. people that don't care about the law are not going to tell the locality about their dog or cat. So I think that reasonable people are complying, and people who aren't. And so there's no way for a county to know if you have a dog on your property unless there's an incident. So and the only way the localities find out that your animal is vaccinated is the veterinarians give it to the localities. So I don't know. I just don't think this solves a problem. Plus, it's already a crime not to have a vaccinated animal anyway. So.
All right. Seeing no further questions, we'll take testimony from the audience. First, we will go to those in the room that are for the piece of legislation. If there's anybody that would like to speak in favor, please step forward.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Heidi Krosky, and I represent the Virginia Animal Owners Alliance. We are very supportive of this bill, and we ask that you will pass it forward. There are big reforms needed in Virginia, and this is a positive step in the right direction. Thank you.
Is there anybody else? All right, now we will take testimony for those that are against the piece of legislation, and we will start with those in the room first, and then we have one person, I believe, that is against. So we'll take the virtual testimony after the live testimony. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Sharon Quillen Adams, chair of the Virginia Alliance for Animal Shelters. I cannot fathom any animal control officer seizing an animal for failure to have a rabies license and having that animal euthanized. That's absolute nonsense. There was a study committee on this issue in 2016. It brought forth legislation which allowed localities to sell a multi-year lifetime license for the animal. So you could sell a license one time, it covers the animal for its lifetime. Those of us in animal welfare think owners should be responsible. I also live in Virginia Beach. The animal control budget in Virginia Beach is $3,762,252. As an animal owner, I don't think my little $2 is too much for me to have to pay for that service to be provided. So we are strongly opposed to this bill.
Ma'am, a question for the witness? All right. Delegate Wilt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry I wasn't quick enough on the button. What was the $2 plus million? What figure? What was that for?
That's the City of Virginia Beach animal control budget, $3,762,252, for which animal owners pay a little bit toward that. Seems like a fair deal for me.
All right, next. And again, for those of you who've been to this committee before, brevity is very greatly appreciated.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is James Hutzer. I'm with the Virginia Association of Counties. We find this bill eliminates an existing authority possessed by localities as well as eliminating a revenue source. VACO opposes this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee. Susan Seward with the Virginia Veterinary Medical Association. We strongly support licensing in Virginia. We see this as the beginning of chipping away at licensing. And I will tell you that database of local dogs that are in the licensing system is extremely helpful to animal control, particularly when there is a bite and you are pondering the rabies protocol. If there is an incident on a Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and you're trying to determine whether an animal is vaccinated or not, you've got an entire weekend before that vet can determine the rabies status of that dog. So allowing ACOs to at least have the access to the vaccinated dogs in that community is extremely important. And look, if we end up taking away the local piece of this, animal control officers are going to be chasing down rabies status of dogs all over Virginia. There are thousands of dog bites every year handled by the Virginia Department of Health. So if you remove the local database for at least a percentage of those dogs, 20-30%, you are going to be sending ACOs all over Virginia trying to track down this information. So we strongly oppose the bill. Thank you.
All right, next.
Mr. Chairman, Alan Albert on behalf of the Treasurers Association of Virginia. I'll be very brief and just echo everything that's been said. It was our pleasure to work with the veterinarians and under Delegate Orrock's leadership for a number of years to fine-tune the system that we have. In all candor, it's not the Treasurer's favorite duty. It's a lot of work, but the important point is that it serves an extremely important public policy interest. And if you dismantle the system, or largely dismantle the system, you will basically throw away what we've accomplished, which has brought rabies vaccination rates up and protected the public health. Thanks.
Thank you. I've been informed that the person who was going to testify virtually didn't get on the Zoom. So, Delegate Anderson, you have the last word.
Last word. We're not getting rid of the animal license, folks. We're just taking away the $7 fee. We're taking away the misdemeanor crime. We're taking away the $7 fee, and we're taking away the authority to take the dog and kill it if you don't get your license. That's in the code right now.
All right. Thank you. All right. This committee operates by motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Delegate Orrock.
I moved lay on the table.
All right. The motion has been made by Delegate Orrock and seconded. All those in favor of laying the bill on the table, please record your vote.
Thank you.
All right. HB 1406 is laid on the table. Thank you, Delegate Anderson. Next up is Delegate Bulova. We're switch to invasive species. Noxious weeds, sorry.
We got both of them. And that's the
We got
problem.
both of them.
We got both
you
of
got
them.
a twofer.
That's right.
All right. Delegate Bulova, you have the floor.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And actually, I have a substitute, if I could get that before us to put us in proper order.
Is there a second to move the substitute? Second. There's a second. The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Delegate Bulova.
All right.
Yes, sir. Here. And can you explain what it does?
Yep. No, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee. And first of all, I want to thank the members of the subcommittee for taking a bill similar to this last year very seriously and for having a good conversation. It was very, very informative and really helped me. And so while that didn't pass, I appreciated the opportunity that it was carried over to the next year so that we have a chance to go back and make sure that we could go ahead and work on it for this year. So to get to the basic premise, right, is invasive plants are a huge problem. And sadly to say, there are very few parts of Virginia that are untouched by invasive species. And so quite honestly, this really hit home during the pandemic where my family got to do a lot of hiking in our beautiful state parks. And there was almost nowhere that you could go where instead of our native Virginia plants that you weren't confronted with kudzu or porcelain berry or Bradford pear or Japanese stilt grass or garlic mustard or autumn olive, just to go ahead and name a few. I think the Department of Forestry's website sums it up really beautifully in just kind of 3 points. So invasive plants pose a serious risk to the ecosystems of Virginia. These plants can cause economic and environmental harm, and they are costly to control, reduce productivity within forests, and can grow faster than native species and spread quickly. And that last point about the cost to control is very real. And so just Fairfax County and Arlington County in my neck of the woods spend about $500,000 each year trying to remove native plants from their public properties. And I know the state, as they're ramping up their efforts to try to just stem the tide of invasive species, they're looking at millions and millions of dollars to go ahead and do that. And I also know the financial implications for the agricultural and forestry industry are very real. So just wanted to lead through really quickly about what the bill does before you. The first one is really just make sure that we are leading by example. And so Virginia state agencies both promulgate plants, and we also have a lot of land where we do landscaping. And so to me, it's only fair that we are not contributing to the problem, that we are being good stewards and making sure that we are not exacerbating the issue with respect to invasive plant species. And so what the bill does, it directs that no state agency can propagate or plant plants on DCR's invasive species list unless you're doing it for educational or scientific purposes. So that's pretty straightforward. The second one is to formalize the invasive species list and make sure that it's actually updated once every 4 years. And so right now, even though a lot of people look at it, it's not a formal document. And I understand why that's problematic, right? And so if you're going to use it to decide, what you're going to use to go ahead and plant, you want to make sure that it's transparent, that it's up to date. And so from all the different stakeholders on this, I've received a lot of head nods that, yeah, this is something that we need to make sure that there is a process for updating it and that it does actually get updated. The third thing it does is make sure that customers are aware when their landscaper or a landscape architecture are proposing to have invasive species as part of their plan. And so in these cases, it's not the customer who's going out to the store and usually selecting these plants. What they're doing is relying on a professional to be able to go ahead and choose for them. And so what the bill does, it really just simply says that the landscaper should notify the customer if they are proposing to use a plant on that invasive plant list, so that the customer can just simply make an informed decision. It doesn't say they can't use it, but it makes sure that they realize, that this is on that list. And so it's really just an information consumer protection issue. And I'm very grateful that the American Society of Landscape Architects, the Virginia chapter, helped to go ahead and craft this language and are supportive of it. We have Jeff Palmore here who is willing to go ahead and testify for the bill. But it's really part of their best management practices. And so it mirrors what they already recognize needs to happen. And I'd also note that, again, from a transparency standpoint, this would happen after VDACs went through a regulatory process, right? So that we know exactly how it's going to get done, that it makes sense, that it's efficient. The fourth part deals with a problem identified by the Farm Bureau and agribusiness. And so specifically any movement of a noxious weed. So noxious weeds are ones that are banned, right? So you need a permit for those things. And so you need a permit to do anything with them, even if they are well established beyond eradication in the environment. This includes the incidental movement of these noxious weeds as part of a bona fide agricultural operation. And so even if you inadvertently are moving these things because they're so pervasive in the environment, you would technically be required to have a permit for it. I think most people agree that that is not necessarily reasonable, and so this just gives VDACs the ability to not require a permit when you're dealing with these kind of incidental circumstances. And last but not least, this is kind of where the planner in me comes out. We actually had the invasive species working group back in 2018 develop an invasive species management plan. If you've ever had a chance to look at it, it's actually very thoughtful and informative. And this would just go ahead and have VDACs go ahead and pull that group back together, revisit it, and provide information back to us about what would it take from the budget standpoint to actually implement that plan. So it doesn't do anything, but gives us, I think, some good information about how to go ahead and move forward to implement the recommendations of that plan. So, Mr. Chairman, that is the bill. I know that there's folks who would like to go ahead and testify on that, but just want to thank the many stakeholders who came to me and helped to go ahead and perfect this bill over the year and within the last week.
Excellent. Thank you, Delegate Bova. First, we will go with questions from the committee, and then we'll take testimony. First up is Delegate Orrock.
And Mr. Chairman, this is largely a technical question. It seems to me we have almost exactly the same language on lines 61 through 63 of the substitute and lines 80 through 83. And I was curious why we needed to set it out in two different sections.
Yeah, and Delegate O'Rourke, it had actually originally been, the section in terms of the regulations was set out in the part dealing with invasive plants and the list, which is actually the purview of DCR. And it was brought to my attention by the Farm Bureau that the regulatory authority to go ahead and do that with regard to your landscapers is up at VDACs. And so that's why we wanted to make sure it was put in both places so that they were self-reinforcing.
So, Mr. Chairman, so then the board referenced on line 61 is DCR?
Yes.
Not the Board of Agriculture?
61, hold on. Let me
line 61, yeah, in the first section.
No, that would be VDACs.
All right, so follow up then, Mr. Chairman.
Delegate Orrock.
And so we have VDACs doing it again on 80?
Yes, and so, yeah, it's noxious weeds are under, yeah, on, so on page, on line 61. the purview of noxious weeds is VDACs.
Okay,
And then under there, when we're just talking about.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Delegate Wilt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In existing code, and I don't, maybe it'd be helpful. Okay. I think it's on line 23, the word detrimental. Can somebody, maybe you or someone speak just briefly? What does detrimental mean? Why are we concerned about this in the first place?
So is this line 23 of the substitute?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, why is it detrimental?
Yeah, the word detrimental. What is it? Why is that important? Why are we here today?
Yeah, so first of all, yeah, it harms the ecosystem, and so if you're looking at your native animals that go ahead and rely on native vegetation for their food stock, that can certainly be an issue. You've got invasive plants up in our neck of the woods, like kudzu, that will go ahead and just absolutely cover public infrastructure and ruin public infrastructure that you have to go ahead and take down. And then there are also ones, that interfere with agricultural operations and compete with Virginia forestry products. And so, again, there are probably other experts in the rooms who can provide better detail than that, but it's both an ecological issue, but also has some pretty significant economic impacts as well.
All right. Since that's the last of the questions from the committee, we will take testimony. First, let's go with those that are for the piece of legislation. If you're here in person, please come forward. And then we have several people who are virtual as well. And again, brevity is very much appreciated. Thank you.
My name's Will Shaw. I live in Louisa County. I don't represent any organization or movement or anything. I grow apples and loblolly pine, and I'm really tired of having to use herbicide sprays to control the autumn olive and nandina and paulownia and ailanthus and Japanese stilt grass. These are all invasive species, and this bill, I may not live long enough to see the results, but this bill will help the problem. Farmers and timber owners and landowners, homeowners spend millions of dollars a year trying to control invasive species, some of which are overtly harmful to our native wildlife. The list that the bill calls on DCR to establish and maintain, they're already doing this. It doesn't add some new task to them, but it makes the list a little more usable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Jeff Paulmore on behalf of the landscape architects, repeating what the delegate said, we support the legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Tom Smith representing the Virginia Native Plant Society. Delegate Bulova did an excellent job introducing the bill, so I'll leave most of my comments just to say that we strongly support it, that they are a very serious problem in Virginia, and no one has to look far. I live near the James River. I spent 21 years treating and pulling English ivy from my property. It's still there. A neighbor just spent $50,000 for a heavy construction company to remove golden bamboo from his property. As a retired 31-year public servant with Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation, I'm well aware of what our natural resource agencies and Department of Transportation are spending on invasive species every year. And anecdotally, this morning when I went to visit with Delegate Webert and Delegate Farris, their administrative assistants, when they found out why I was there, jumped on me about invasive species on their properties and what could they do about it. So thank you for considering this bill.
Thank you, sir. Next.
Hi, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee. My name is Blair Blanchett. I work for the Association of Soil and Water Conservation Districts. Invasive species and noxious weeds impact both our agricultural work and stormwater management program, so we strongly support the bill.
Thank you. Next.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Zach Jacobs with Virginia Farm Bureau. We have appreciated the opportunity to work with the delegate on this piece of legislation, and Farm Bureau supports the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So that's everybody that's live. We're going to go to the Zoom. And first up will be Patricia Norland.
Hello?
There we go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Chair and members of the subcommittee. I'm a tree advocate from Northern Virginia, Arlington Tree Act.
You're going to have to unmute yourself again.
Oh, apologies. Quickly, Patricia Norland from Northern Virginia, longtime tree advocate, just over the moon about this legislation. It's specifically for the tree, how it will preserve trees. Invasives weaken and destroy native trees. They literally strangle them in some cases. And in a time of severe weather across our state, and not to mention the country and the globe, any measures that protect tree canopy will add to a healthier environment. Trees reduce flooding. They clean the air. They capture carbon. They provide mental health benefits. They increase habitat. This piece of legislation will be far-reaching in protecting the trees and all the benefits they give all the residents of our Commonwealth. Thank you so much.
All right, next up is Scott Cameron.
Good afternoon, Chairman Weber and members of the subcommittee. I am a director of the Northern Virginia Soil and Water Conservation District and chairman of its legislative committee. We strongly support HB 2096 by Delegate Bulova. Invasive plants cause both economic and environmental problems across the entire Commonwealth. We believe HB 2096 takes several positive, reasonable, and appropriate steps to address problems posed by invasive plants, and we urge its prompt passage. Thank you very much.
Next up is Mr. Thomas Blackburn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm speaking on behalf of the Audubon Society of Northern Virginia. Am I being heard? Okay.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. Okay, Audubon Society of Northern Virginia, 5,000 members. I want to emphasize the harm that invasive plants create for our ecosystem. They outcompete the native plants on which insects and other animals rely, and often the invasive plants are not palatable to the insects and other animals. Birds and small animals rely on these insects to feed themselves and their young. The insects are also, in turn, critical to pollinating fruits and vegetables. By reducing the number of invasive plants, we can help to reverse the disastrous decline in populations of insects and birds. This bill helps do that. It does not mean that landscapers will lose money. Simply, informed landowners will purchase natives instead of invasives. And so I strongly support the bill. Thank you.
All right. Next up is Jessica Fleming. She's not in. Mr. Jim Hurley. Mr. Hurley, please unmute your mic if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Hurley. I am a landowner in Western Greene County and representing today the Blue Ridge PRISM, that is the Partnership for Regional Invasive Species Management, and we strongly support this bill. I want to associate myself with pretty much everything that is said in this bill. Just emphasize that the overall thrust of HB 2096 is public education and awareness concerning invasive plants and their impact on the landscape. The bill does not impose any burdens on Virginia plant nurseries and retailers, and in one provision actually reduces regulatory requirements.
All right. We do not have high-speed internet in Greene County. Can we have Pat Calvert testify, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Pat Calvert on behalf of Virginia Conservation Network. Our legislative committee fully supports this bill and appreciate Delegate Bulova bringing it.
All right, thank you. Next up, is there any testimony for those that would be against this bill? All right, hearing none. Delegate Bulova?
Mr. Chairman?
Or do we want to?
Mr. Chairman, Delegate Orrock, as always, is right.
Ayes and nays, ayes and nays.
Where we had meant to go, where we had meant to go ahead and move language, we repeated the language, and so actually the language on lines 80 through 83 are indeed redundant, and I appreciate him catching that.
Amend the substitute by striking lines 80 through 83. Second.
All right, there's been a motion, and that has been properly seconded. All those in favor of striking the lines 80, what was it?
80 through 83.
80 through 83. All those in favor say aye. 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 All those against? All right, the bill is amended. There's been a motion to report as amended and properly seconded. All those in favor, please record your vote on the voting board. Clerk will close the roll. Congratulations, Delegate Bulova. You are getting rid of some noxious weeds.
Marvelous. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. All right, next up, we will go, let's see. Hold on. And Waxman. Okay. Delegate Waxman, you're first up numerically.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll go to Delegate Corey next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members, and also staff as well, too. I come before you today in this nice, warm, cozy room to present House Bill 1577. Hopefully by now you should have received amendments to this bill.
Do we have amendments?
Yeah.
Okay. While we are handing those out, could you explain what they do?
Yeah, basically what the amendments do was brought in to us late this afternoon by Julia Murphy with the Virginia Department of Health, striking words like Department of Health and exchanging that with local health director or his designee, just to make it more workable for them. And then there was some slightly different wording about the local health director or his designee shall be granted access to any dog or cat during such violation or confinement. That's pretty much the gist of those types of, I think there's one that says on line 65, after the newly exposed animal shall be at the discretion of a local health director. Insert after that, the local health director or his designee shall be granted access to any animal other than a dog or cat during any isolation or confinement of that animal as may be directed by the local health director.
All right. There's been a motion to adopt the amendment. Is there a second? The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. 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 All those against? The bill has been amended.
Okay.
Delegate Waxman, please present your bill.
Okay, this bill is kind of important to us. We've had two different cases in my district where a dog has bitten somebody. They were ordered by the local health department director to isolate those dogs, confine them, quarantine them for 10 days for observation. Loophole in the law, where the law allows that to happen, to force the owner to quarantine their animal. There's nothing in the law that says that the person has to allow somebody from the health department to come and actually observe the animal. We had two cases where the owner refused anybody from the local health department onto the property, really defeated the whole purpose. So when that happens, then those people that are bitten have to start going through a series of rabies vaccinations while they're waiting. And those, unfortunately, as brought up earlier under Delegate Anderson's bill, are not only quite painful, but they're also not without risk, too. What the purpose of this bill is to state that the state has the right to go look at these animals that are being observed to see if they have rabies or not.
All right. Well, thank you very much. All right. We will take questions from the committee first. Delegate Helmer, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, this may be a question for the patron and for council. I think this is
seems like a very important bill. Just the designee language, the local health director or his designee, does that give the right amount of flexibility to know like who the designee is? Do we have to be more specific than designee, or I just haven't dealt with the word designee in code in that way.
This language comes from VDH, and I don't know if anybody from VDH is here.
Mr. Chairman, wouldn't that just basically mean any employee of the health department? This wouldn't require the health director to have to go there, that any of the health department employees would be so designated.
That would be my interpretation, but if someone else would like to speak to it more.
My name is Julia Murphy. I serve as a state public health veterinarian with VDH. To the designee question, we have very important partners in animal control that often help us with these type things. And in fact, there's a law 3.2-6562.1, I believe it is, that instructs local health departments to have a rabies response plan, and it also instructs them to outline the responsibilities of each of the parties that help with rabies control and response. And again, local animal control is an important partner in that, so I would see designee as a helpful language to help us partner with one, so that it's not the local health director who is doing this all the time, that somebody else from the health department could be directed to do it, but also to working with animal control, that the local health director has authority over animal control officers for the purposes of rabies control and response, and that allows that flexibility for animal control to partner with the health department to do follow-up on confinement and observation.
All right, Delegate
Chair,
Homer.
can I ask a follow-up question?
Delegate has the floor.
Mr. Chair, I would just ask, so what I'm thinking about is the recalcitrant owner who wasn't allowing the health department to go in and test the dog in the first place, forcing somebody to go through this. Is designee defined elsewhere in code? Is there a world in which that same same animal owner is able to say, look, this person's not a designee, or is that defined elsewhere in code? Is there I just want to make sure that we're covering that possibility.
I'm not aware that designee is defined in the code. We did think it would be helpful, though, to connect that word sort of designee to the local plans that all localities would have in place as instructed by the code, such that it would be a seamless kind of then connection between somebody who could be recognized as an authoritative designee and the health department through our rabies response plans that are instructed by the code, that every district needs to have one of them, and include animal control in that plan. Does that make sense, or am I not making sense?
I understand the intent. Thank you.
Delegate Orrock.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, maybe it would help to explain, because I actually had an animal that had to be isolated. And so what we're talking about, they have to be doubly confined. That what I had to do was basically put the animal in a pen. And I didn't deny access. They came by to make sure that I had so isolated that animal, because during this time when they may be positive, you don't want to have any potential direct contact with the animal. So that's why you've got this kind of double barrier. And so it's not talking about in anybody's house. This is going to be an outdoor type of confinement, or in a barn or something of that nature. It's not going to be in somebody's living room. And so fears, about letting police or these folks have to come into your house, no. They've got to make sure that the animal has been properly isolated so that there is no further danger during this quarantine time.
And there is two things that we do: confinement and isolation. So either confinement, it could be isolated, as Delegate Orrock described. It could be a confinement, which is a little less strict, but still it would be helpful to have access to understand the health status of that animal. That's what we were trying to achieve.
All right, thank you. Seeing no more questions from the committee, we will take testimony. All those in favor of the legislation, please come forward if there is.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Sharon Adams with the Virginia Alliance for Animal Shelters. 208 shelter of personnel and animal control all were in favor of this bill. We think it's necessary. We're familiar with the case in question, and we think it's extremely important. I do just want the committee to be aware, the animal can be quarantined either at the shelter or at home. What we're talking about are those privileges that we've given the owner to allow the animal to be quarantined at home. Having said that, folks who need to see it need to be able to see it. That's what the bill does.
All right, next.
Susan Seward, Virginia Veterinary Medical Association. We too support the bill. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I guess we'll take any testimony for those if there's anybody against. All right, seeing none. Delegate Ferris. There's been a motion to report and properly seconded. All those in favor, please. As amended, yes. All those in favor, please record your vote on the voting board. Clerk will close the roll. 1577 reports 10-0. Thank you, Delegate Waxman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Delegate Corey, please come present your bill. Yeah. Before us is HB 2000, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, members of the subcommittee. I have HB 2000, which basically attempts to create some safe and these are my words, these are not the words of the bill, safe and humane conditions for animals that are used for research or testing, and involve the state veterinarian in order to see that, in fact, all the animal welfare laws are being followed. I can read the bill if you like. Should I?
I don't know. First, is there going to be any questions from the committee in regards to this piece of legislation first? Okay. Delegate Corey.
Yes.
Let's go with testimony of those in favor or against. So all those in favor of HB 2000, please come forward. Otherwise, I'm going to have to read the legislation. Is there anybody against? Oh, Lord. I don't know. Hold on. That's a good question. All right, so Delegate Corey, let me make sure I understand the piece of legislation as well. This is basically a reporting bill.
Yes.
So that if a public institution of higher education is purchasing or acquiring a dog or cat, they have to report it?
Yes, they need to make sure that the state veterinarian or an assistant of the state veterinarian has inspected the accommodations that are going to be used for that animal to be sure that it meets all the requirements of Virginia law.
Okay. So this is a sorry, I apologize. So this is a preemptive piece of legislation, kind of.
I guess you could say
Okay.
that. And I did put in a budget amendment, but I was told it wasn't necessary.
Okay. Delegate Runyon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A question of the patron. A couple of questions, actually. So, what is the current procedure for state institutions to purchase these research animals?
Currently, they don't have to deal with an inspection to verify the condition of the facility that they're going to keep the animal in.
Thank you. Have a follow-up question. Delegate, have you spoken with the several state institutions that would be purchasing these animals?
I have spoken with a couple of them, yes.
And they're
not thrilled, but they're not opposed. at least the ones that I talked to.
Would you care to share with which ones you talked?
I'm sorry.
Would you care to share which institutions you spoke with?
Are you asking me who I spoke with?
Yeah,
Is that what you
which
said? I
institutions?
apologize. Yeah,
Which-
I talked with representatives from Virginia Tech.
Okay. Being a good Hokie, that's what I was looking for.
Oh.
But my second question would be, suppose they want to purchase these animals from out of state or even out of the U.S. There may be a particular species that's not available here in Virginia. So how would that work?
How would it work? Well, first of all, if it's out of the country, there are a lot of regulations and laws that apply that would maybe even prevent the animal from being imported. But it would apply to any animal purchased, whether in the state or out of the state, as long as it's going to be housed in the state.
Mm-hmm. So I understand, let's say, just make up something, that there's a species of some animal that's only in West Virginia that Virginia Tech wants to utilize in this method. They would have to inspect that facility where that animal is available from West Virginia?
No, only in Virginia. Only where they would be housed in Virginia.
But the animal would come to Virginia.
Okay. I apologize. Maybe I didn't understand your question. I thought you were asking about inspecting a location in West Virginia.
Well, I think maybe I've misunderstood the bill. For you to acquire an animal, you've had to inspect where the facility the animal comes from. Is that right?
No,
they have to be on an approved list.
The one the animal's coming to.
Okay.
Delegate O'Rourke.
Not a question, just speaking to the measure. All due respect to the patron, I see this as kind of a solution looking for a problem. In so much as, if you think about it, they're going to need healthy animals in order to perform their research. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to be going to places that are giving them healthy animals on the front end of things, because obviously in order to have validity to whatever studies they're doing. It's problematic on its face to the questions that Delegate Runyon raised, because they don't always buy from in-state facilities. And this bill would require them to have to go anywhere in the world you're buying from and do a physical inspection in addition to the other criteria. I applaud the patron's intent. I think, we're all sympathetic to animal welfare and humane treatment, but I think, again, this is just a solution that's looking for a problem that I'm not aware of exists.
All right, thank you. Delegate Wilt.
No question.
Okay. Well, this committee operates by motion.
Chairman.
Delegate O'Rourke.
I move to lay on the table.
Okay, the motion to lay the bill gently on the table has been made and seconded. I said gently. I added gently. So all those in favor to lay on the table, please, please record your vote on the voting board. All right. The bill is laid on the table.
Thank you.
7-2.
Okay.
Thank you, Delegate Corey.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is, I think I'm going to save the best for last. Delegate Wilt, please present your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Before you is House Bill 1660, involves a dairy margin coverage premium assistance program. Okay, so yes, hats off to Delegate Delegates and her good work in getting us where we were at. The problem is the way it was set up. We're relying on the federal program till we got around to implementing it here. We're about out of time. Okay, for our farmers to apply for it. So what this does, it takes away the sunset. It just makes it, continue on. the availability to participate in the program. It creates a revolving fund that, we don't, that those funds will stay there with the idea that the farmers will continue to have that source to draw from. So that's the idea. I'm sure there's people here. Well, if they'd like to share about the success that we've seen in the state of Virginia, because if you'll recall, ladies and gentlemen, to participate in the program, we required farmers to have a nutrient management plan and so forth, and that is working. We're working hard here to clean up the Chesapeake Bay, all of our rivers actually, and it's happening through this little effort, and that's pretty exciting. So that's pretty much the gist of the bill, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Delegate Wilt. Are there any questions for the patron before we take testimony? Delegate Goditis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say, just for the sake of, for everyone to know, it seems like everywhere I go, someone comes up to me and says how wonderful and how helpful this has been. So it's a really great thing. Thank you, Delegate Wilt.
Excellent. All right, first we'll hear testimony in the room. I think we should start, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with the milk guys, since I'm a fan. I like ice cream.
Chairman, members of the committee, thank you. Thank you to my patron, chief co-patron for this bill. And thank you to this committee, and thanks to the August body. This truly has been a very impactful bill for the dairy industry. This bill set out to do two things: help the dairy industry when times of volatility, which we've seen especially here this last year. This bill came in, and also help meet the state's water quality standards. In the VDAX report to the LIS, they reported that they showed 62 of the farms that applied. This was a deciding factor in either getting a new nutrient management plan or renewing a recently expired one. We also show that helped, we used this then to also bring funds back from the federal government to leverage those state funds. And so I think for both standards, and we like I said, this is an ongoing project. We're going to work with dairy farmers. It's a program that helps support a USDA one. It speaks to good governance. Our dairy farmers trust VDAX. Now we have to get them to work with the USDA to implement the second part of this, and that's the ongoing part of it. But we appreciate it. We hope you guys will support it.
All right, thank you. Next.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for this bill. If you've ever been on a dairy farm or ever worked on a dairy farm, you know they're the hardest working farmers out there. And this is important. Our dairy industry is very important to Virginia. And we in the Virginia Cattlemen Association support this bill wholeheartedly. Thank you very much, Delegate Wilt.
All right, next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brad Copenhaver, representing the Virginia Agribusiness Council. We also support this bill. I think the key thing is it helps us leverage federal funds that are out there, helps our farmers get access to those funds, and also supporting water quality as well. So thank you. We support it.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee. Stephanie Talon with Virginia Farm Bureau. We also support the bill for the reasons already stated. We think the program is working well and still has a lot of potential to help both the dairy industry and the environment. So do want to thank Delegate Wilt and Delegate Goditis for their leadership on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Parker Slabaugh with the Governor's Office. I could not have said it any better than my predecessors, including Delegate Goditis, so we appreciate that. We do support the bill.
Thank you, sir. All right. I have a feeling there's nobody against milk. There was nobody on it. All right, there's been a motion to report and properly seconded. Please record your vote on the voting board. Clerk will close the roll. 1660 reports, 10-0. Delegate Goditis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Time
and
to
Mr.
claw
Chairman,
ourselves out of this.
I would like to commend you on your fortitude in having pet day in our first meeting. So well done. This bill, HB 1382, is to protect cats from the mutilation of declawing. This bill prohibits the non-therapeutic declawing of cats. It permits declawing when it is medically necessary for the cat's well-being. Yes, a violation of the law would result in a civil penalty, and those funds would help fund local animal control. Localities around the nation, a couple of states, including our neighbor Maryland, have passed a declawing ban. 14 major cities across the country have passed it. I have owned around 40 cats in my life, and I have a wide, broad acquaintance of family and friends, cat owners. And I have to say, I've known many declawed cats. We own one still that a family couldn't deal with and gave to us. We said we would take her because we love the family. Declawing the cats means, look at your hands. It means that your fingers, it would be equivalent to your fingers or your toes being chopped off at the first knuckle. It's not some sort of little surgical removal of a claw. It's a removal of that last bone. It's sort of a personal way of putting this, but I mean, at age 21, when the first dog that I owned for myself tore up my grandfather's favorite armchair, I had to decide what was more important to me, my pet or my furniture. It was an easy decision for me. I understand it's not that easy for everyone. But the outcomes of this, a conservative estimate is that 1 in 5 cats has permanent long-term complications, physical complications from declawing surgery. 50% of cats have immediate post-surgical complications. And I put it to you that there is an extreme mental effect, detrimental effect in the cat's mental well-being. Many cats either turn to biting, they become fearful, and they're more likely to bite because they know they can't defend themselves by scratching. Many cats become so fearful they are no longer that soft pet that wants to sit on your lap while you watch Netflix. They want to go hide under the couch instead. And many of them actually ignore their litter box and do their business in unwanted places around the house, which is a sign of stress. So they are not built to have their toes and fingers removed. It's a cruelty, and it's unnecessary. Many veterinarians oppose declawing. There are 77 clinics in Virginia that do not perform elective declaws on ethical grounds. The American Association of Feline Practitioners strongly opposes declawing and doesn't allow it in their cat-friendly certified clinics. It also, people mistakenly think that, well, if people don't have the chance to declaw their cats, then they will surrender them to the shelter instead. They'll become unwanted. The statistics do not bear that out. There have been a couple of studies done, and actually in the city of Los Angeles of 4 million people, the number of cats relinquished to shelters decreased 43% after the ban went into effect. So, I would attribute that, this is me, I would attribute that to the fact that the cats are not, they are allowed to be the loving, soft, playful pets that we wanted in the first place, and not mutilated and frightened. I'm sure there are good cat stories about declawing, but I have not seen them in my many years of cat ownership. So yes, rescue groups and shelters are united in supporting declawing bans. And most rescue groups they find that it's hard to adopt out a declawed cat who is biting or has inappropriate elimination issues. So, a lot of cats are given up for those issues, and that's not helpful. One of the concerns that people raise is the concern to people's health. Well, I hope most of us in this room understand that a cat scratch, while it may not be a lot of fun, is a lot less dangerous to your health than a cat bite, which can be very dangerous. And oh my gosh, I've had a couple of wicked cat bites over the years, and a lot of antibiotics as a result. So this is something we can do for our pets, something we can do for our cats. Again, I want you to imagine the pain of that. And I want you to hope along with me that the way the world is going, with all the bills that we pass in here to protect our pets, that we can add this one to the list. And I hope very much that you will recommend this bill be reported. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. First, we will take questions from the committee if there are any, and then we will begin our testimony. Does anybody have any questions for the patron? All right, seeing none, let's begin our testimony. All those in favor here in the room, if they'd like to testify, please come forward, and then we will go. We have 5 people virtually that also would like to testify as well.
Thank you so much. My name is Molly Armis, and I'm the Virginia State Director for the Humane Society of the United States. On behalf of our members and supporters here in Virginia, the HSUS asks for your support of HB 1382. I think Delegate Gooditis did a fantastic job sort of explaining some of the adverse consequences of these type of procedures. It's a really extreme response to a pretty natural behavior. There are plenty of humane, non-invasive ways to ensure that cats do not scratch, that our animal shelters and rescues can counsel potential adopters on. And I just do want to emphasize, infectious disease specialists do not recommend declawing. The National Institutes of Health, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the Infectious Disease Society of America jointly stated that declawing is not advised to protect the health of even severely immunocompromised patients. They just recommend that they don't get kittens or puppies, things that are more likely to scratch. Again, as Delegate Gooditis noted, bites are a bigger concern. So thank you again, and please do support HB 1382.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee. My name is Daphne Nekaminovich. I'm representing 141,000 members and supporters in Virginia of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. We support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Again, Sharon Adams, Virginia Alliance for Animal Shelters. I'm extremely conflicted about this bill. I hate declawing. My members hate declawing. All the things that the delegate told you about declawing are absolutely true. I am concerned about prohibiting it from veterinarians because my experience has been in 30 years that we have fewer and fewer veterinarians who are doing it. So I appreciate the bill. I support the concept of the bill. And I'm Switzerland. Can I be Switzerland? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Susan Laumey with the Virginia Dog Army. We like cats too, and there's absolutely no benefit to the cat of declawing. And for those who find scratching of furniture hard to imagine, a simple procedure of just cutting the cat's toenail to blunt it can solve that problem without the medical impact to the cat. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now let's go online. Dr. Cody Tennis. Is he on? Dr. Cody? Dr. George Cody?
Unmute.
I'm on. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I want to thank the chairman of the subcommittee for allowing me to testify. I urge bipartisan support for HB 1382 to ban the cruel, inhumane, and barbaric practice of surgically and painfully removing the nails, tendons, ligaments, joints, and nerves from a healthy cat's paws for human convenience, not to benefit the cat. Declawing a cat is like cutting off the first knuckle on your own hands against your will. Let our great state join the ban now law in New York, Maryland, in 42 countries, 14 U.S. cities and municipalities, and under consideration in 6 other states. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next up is Jennifer Conrad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for listening to me. My name is Jennifer Conrad. I'm a veterinarian, and I run the PAW Project, which is the world's largest organization dedicated solely to ending declawing. If you have any questions, please let me know. I am happy to help since I have all the statistics. I am not an expert in anything except for declawing. So I wanted to let you know that declawing is not rare. According to the journals of the American Veterinary Medical Association, declawing is performed on 20 to 24% of American cats. And according to a recent survey, 76% of veterinarians feel like they're being forced to declaw, or they do declaw. So I wanted to refute the idea that this is unnecessary legislation. I humbly urge your aye vote. It's good for cats. It's good for the community. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Next up is Miss Alice Burton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. My name is Alice Burton, and I am Programs Manager with Alley Cat Allies. In 15 years, as I was Chief of Animal Control in Arlington, Virginia for 15 years. And in those 15 years, I cannot even tell you how many cats I saw surrendered because the cats had been declawed, and they had behavior and physical issues. And we had to take them in and try to rehabilitate them. Without the claws, they have no form of defense. And so their defense at that point became biting. They no longer have the claws. Declawing really should be called deknuckling because it is absolutely inhumane. And Alley Cat Allies absolutely supports HB 1382. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Last up is Dr. Laura Parkhurst.
Good evening. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the subcommittee. I'm Dr.
You just accidentally muted yourself.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As I was saying, my name is Dr. Laura Parkhurst. I'm co-representative of Virginia for the Humane Society Veterinary Medical Association. As stated before by several people who's testified, declawing is not simply the removal of the claw, but it's an actual amputation. It is literally the equivalent to amputating your own fingers or toes at the knuckle above your nail. And as there are numerous humane and non-invasive options available that offer protection to both your property, such as furniture and carpet, and also people from being scratched, declawing surgery should only be considered when necessary for the health of the cat and not performed merely for the convenience of the owner. It is my greatest hope that Virginia will join New York and Maryland in becoming the next state in the nation to discontinue this practice and to ban declawing of cats. Thank you for your time and voting for HB 1382.
All right, thank you. Now, is there anybody here that would like to speak in opposition of the bill?
Well, there had to be one of me. Good afternoon.
ahead.
Susan Seward with the Virginia Veterinary Medical Association. And we understand that Delegate Goditis is coming at this bill, certainly for her care and concern for animals, but we respectfully and strongly oppose the bill. We have had a lot of discussion within the association, and it is our experience here in Virginia that veterinarians are being requested to consider this practice less and less as time goes on. What we are doing, it is not an automatic, oh, you want your cat declawed. There's been some reference to behavioral things you can do. And so what veterinarians, at least in our association, are doing is counseling someone when they say, I think I want to declaw my cat. Well, let's go through and see if this really is the option you need. So we are not de facto doing this. We are consulting with the client and their pet to see if really that is necessary. And again, we're finding it's happening fewer and fewer times. there are some structural issues with this bill. It's drawn to the Comprehensive Animal Law to 3.26586.1, creating a new section at the back of the Comprehensive Animal Law. So in effect, it's going to put enforcement of this bill with our good state veterinarian, Dr. Broadus. Veterinarians, just like any other health profession, are disciplined and managed under 54.1-2400 in the Code of Virginia. All health regulatory boards have their own disciplinary structure to handle health professions in the various fields. So we're really sort of from an enforcement position putting a square peg in a round hole. What we're asking to happen here is someone to report a veterinarian for performing this procedure to local animal control or local law enforcement. And quite frankly, I think one of the unintended consequences would be setting up a really unpleasant and adversarial relationship between animal control and veterinarians, and that is certainly not a relationship we want to diminish. We need to keep that relationship on a positive footing. Secondly, with the bill, it does give an exemption for therapeutic purpose of the animal, but again, from the experience of our own veterinarians, what we are hearing within the association is a lot of the requests are coming in not because they're destructive or tearing up the sofa, but in fact medical needs of the owner. I can give you a couple examples from clinics. I have a clinic in the Leesburg area who has 2 HIV positive clients that requested the cats be declawed because they wanted to minimize any risk of bleeding in that situation. I have another practitioner in the Fairfax area who had a woman come in for a consult because she works at a biohazard lab, and the biohazard lab says any animal bites or scratches, you're out of work for a minimum of 2 weeks or until the wound heals. So here's somebody that works at the biohazard lab saying, walk me through this. Should I do it? Should I not do it? She didn't come in to de facto do it. They did a consultation. So there are human medical reasons that a therapeutic exemption, if you will, that can rival the need of the cat. So again, we simply ask the committee to trust Virginia's veterinarians to do the right thing by the pet and the pet owner. Every situation is different, but we ask that you not, in effect, criminalize veterinarians for performing a procedure in a licensed hospital, in a surgical suite, by a licensed doctor under general anesthesia, and the cat goes home with 3 to 5 days of feline buprenorphine, which is a Schedule III pain medication. So we're doing the right thing when and if we need to do it, and we ask you to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Heidi Krosky with the Virginia Animal Owners Alliance. I do believe that Delegate Gooditis is well-intentioned with the bill. We are cat lovers as well, but we're worried that this is taking away the choice of the pet owner, and we really want to preserve that choice, especially if they have a medical condition. We're also worried about the issue of enforcement and what is going to happen potentially to people who already have their cats declawed. So there's a lot of concerns with this bill, and we just would ask that you would please oppose it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Delegate Gooditis, you have the last word.
So I have a whole lot of statements from a whole lot of medical, the American Cancer Society, American Animal Hospital Association, let's see, Canadian Medical Association, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, National Institutes of Health, all of them, and an author who's an expert on HIV, all of them saying that that cat scratches are not a dangerous health risk. And maybe there are a few cases, but on the whole, they are not the danger. They're not nearly as dangerous as a bite, which is much more likely to happen with a declawed cat. Mr. Chairman, you're not going to like this. I'm wondering about taking it by for the day and putting this in another part of the code that changes the enforcement of it.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I actually had a discussion with the director of the Board of Vet Medicine about that. And per the director at the Board of Vet Medicine, they do not None of the health regulatory boards wish to prescribe specific surgical procedures in their code. So the Board of Vet Medicine would be opposed to inserting it in our Practice Act or in our regulations. I've actually had that conversation. Just want to put that out there.
Okay, well, I think that answers that question. All right. Delegate Goditis has had the last word. We've had the testimony. This committee operates by motion.
Chair, I move to take this bill
Okay, there's been a motion to take it by for the day. There's a secondary motion. Okay, gently lay the table on the bill is a superior motion. Is there a second? There is a second. So the motion before us is to lay the bill gently on the table. Clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. HB 1382 is gently laid on the table, 6-4. All right. Thank you all for a subcommittee, and we are adjourned.